How's everybody doing today? Wanted to talk to everybody today a little bit about a movie franchise that is not only iconic, easily recognizable, but also a family favorite. And in particular, my family. We used to watch a couple of these movies all the time. That's the second time today somebody, for no reason whatsoever, decided to stop and let me exit when it wasn't my turn. And that is very nice, and I understand you're being very polite. But that can cause massive amounts of confusion. So you got to be careful when you're doing that. You shouldn't do that when you're in a busy street. Regardless of that little aside, I'm talking about Indiana Jones. Now, many of you, I'm sure, are very familiar with Indiana Jones. We had a thing where the young boys, and I'm talking, 4-year-old, would talk about how Indiana Jones was only afraid of two things. Hates. Only hates two things, snakes and Nazis. Obviously, he's not afraid of Nazis. He may be afraid of snakes, that's beside the point. But what I wanted to talk about, primarily just overall arcing thoughts, and, what are your thoughts about the Indiana Jones series? For me, there's really only two good movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark was awesome, gold from beginning to end. And The Last Crusade, I thought Last Crusade was even better. There were some points in Last Crusade that got a little on the goofy side, just a little bit. But I felt like the whole movie had a lot more warmth to it. Felt a lot more genuine. And the humor in that one was great. I love Indy interacting with his dad. Now, Temple of Doom has its moments, but not only is the female lead weak and obnoxious, unlike the other female leads in the series, and just beyond obnoxious. Like, even if it weren't about a female protagonist being weak, she's just obnoxious. Screaming all the time. No fun to even watch. Excuse me. But then also, some people would object to Short Round, find he's an annoying character. And personally, I felt like the story kind of was just abrupt. All right, we're going to use a MacGuffin. We're going to get Indy out in the wilderness, and then, he just happens to land someplace where he's needed. There wasn't a story of he's doing his archaeological thing, and finally he finds something important, which is typically what the other stories are. Through his archaeology, either him or someone around him has discovered something that's critical. In fact, now that I think about it, really, the only time it was somebody else. But that somebody else comes to Jones. Comes to him. Jones doesn't land in their backyard. But that's neither here nor there. Also, the overacting. We are going to die kind of moments in that movie I didn't really care for. And then there's Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, which I saw the day it came out, and I haven't seen it since. And my beef with Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls is it's not an Indiana Jones movie. It's an action movie, one sequence right after the other. Completely meaningless action. There's no archaeology. There's no let's sit down and study. There's no building up of characters to come to a climax of any kind. It's chase scene after adventure after even the thing in the flippin' warehouse didn't make any sense. Over the top action, I didn't really care for it. But what made the first two so awesome? It was a combination of things that I think you can all boil down to being self-referential. Not only were they good action scenes and well written and humorous and whatnot, but if you really watch the movies, you can understand the basic plot without paying any attention to the dialogue whatsoever. Okay, so he's going to find this girl, and now that he's finding the girl, he can go to the place, and now they're digging, and they found the thing, and Indy knew where it was, and now that they've got it, now they're kidnapped, and he's in trouble, and now he's got to do some adventuring to get everybody back, and then close your eyes. Okay, and that's the whole That's the whole Raiders of the Lost Ark would have happened whether Indiana Jones was there or not. And that's entertaining. That's humorous. But then if you really look and study, there's subtle lines of dialogue that aren't just there for filler. The lines of dialogue actually mean something, I can't think of any specific examples from Raiders of the Lost Ark, but, they talk about this character, Belosh, Belloc. And there's a lot of subtle things happening. And they're not so subtle that you really need to study them. It's the kind of movie that you can watch, and if you pay attention to, you pick up on all the little details that are left along the way. Or you can just watch it and kind of, just follow along and say, oh, that was fun. The action sequences were tight, and it was fun to watch the dialogue, bad dates, that kind of thing. There's that guy with the monkey. And then, in particular, you get a little bit more of this, and it's the kind of the Harry Potter thing, which, of course, is not Harry Potter. It goes way back earlier than that. But that was the first time I was able to solidify what this meant. Where they're going to tell you a story, and in the very beginning of the story, they're going to mention something of importance, and then you're going to see it a little while later. And it's done subtly. It doesn't hit you over the head. It's not so subtle that you're going to miss it. I mean, obviously, you're going to look at it and you're going to say, okay, I think that book's important. I think that package he got is important. There's very little chance you're going to miss it, but that it's not smacking you on the head with a hammer. So it's a nice balance there. And then the other thing is, it does some self-referential humor to itself. And there's a few examples of this, but the only one that really comes to mind is when Indy and Dr. Snyder, this is in Last Crusade, Indy and Dr. Snyder are in the library, and they found the crypt, and they're going through the crypt, and there's all these paintings. And I come across this one wall painting, and she says, what is this? And he says, the Ark of the Covenant. And she says, are you sure? And he says, pretty sure. That kind of humor. If you had seen the first Indiana Jones movie, you would know, oh yeah, that's definitely it. So, that's humorous. Obviously, you know why he's pretty sure, is because he was there. He saw it. So that's what I think makes Indiana Jones just terrific. Terrific. Those two, anyway, terrific movies. The other two, I think you can enjoy the other two at face value. At least you can enjoy Temple of Doom at face value. You might have a hard time enjoying Crystal Skulls. Crystal Skulls to me felt a little bit more like Michael Bay, Transformers kind of movie, which was that's what made that movie so disappointing, was there was no archaeology. But we've established a pattern for ourselves. Good, bad, good, bad. Do we need to make one more? If they reboot, is it going to go back to good? Hope so. Because I think that's what they're doing, right? I don't really study. I don't really follow. I've heard rumors Chris Pratt be fine. He's a guy who's never done anything that I've liked, but I've never disliked anything that I've watched. But with that being said, yes, I did not like Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't hate it, but it was so over the top. There was no subtlety to it whatsoever. You didn't build on anything. You just had these absurd characters running through a ridiculous story. Okay, it was fun. I didn't hate it, but no, I didn't love it. You can unsubscribe if you want. Or tell me why you loved Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to hear. I want to know what it is that I'm missing. There have been times when I have said, I did not like that. And somebody said, well, why not? And I would say, because of A, B, and C. And I said, yes, A, B, and C are valid points. What about D, E, F? And I said, I didn't even consider D, E, F. I'll give it another go. And there's lots of times that happens. And I rewatched and I said, yeah, D, E, F is there, but it doesn't make up for it. It's not worth it. Like, here's a pizza. I'm going to sprinkle dirt all over it. The pizza's still there. Yeah, but the dirt ruins it. As opposed to, here's a pizza. I'm going to sprinkle dirt on this half. Have that pizza's dirty. I just sprinkled that on there. Quick, cut the other pizza away. This pizza's still good. This is the bad part. Okay, so I can see value here. You know what I mean? And then you can take it a step further, like getting hung up on one thing. I ordered pepperoni and onion pizza, and there's a jalapeno on this slice. Well, I'll eat that slice. No, it's jalapeno on this pizza. I can't eat jalapeno. You're getting hung up over one little thing. That's an interesting analogy that I should have saved for another episode. But regardless, what are your thoughts on Indiana Jones? What do you want to see in the next establishment? What other movies do you think are really subtle and tight and well established? Well, not established, but well put together. What's your opinion?